It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 3 new releases of May 9th, 2008. Now, on today's show, we have Wachowski's following up on the Matrix trilogy with another summer blockbuster, and then we also have David Mamet's latest film. But before we get to those movies, let's talk about the biggest new release of the weekend. And yeah, you thought maybe that the Wachowski brothers, who had then created the Matrix movies, you would have thought their latest film would be the big new release, but sadly, that was not the case. But the movie that it was beaten out by is still a pretty decent film overall. Let's talk about what happens in Vegas.
I don't want to marry you, Joy, but I'm leaving you. Well, I mean, this is my place, so technically you would be the one that has to leave.
Joy just got dumped.
Jack, you're fired. Don't get me wrong, you're like a son to me.
Dad, I am your son.
Jack just got canned.
Here's some one place where you can step up and be a man.
Community college?
Where can you go? You can forget all your troubles.
Vegas.
Vegas!
They were two strangers
I'm not usually this much fun!
looking for a night to remember. What they got was a morning after they'll never forget.
Well, I'm gonna need a divorce.
Absolutely!
We'll always have Vegas.
That was my quarter!
I put the quarter in the slot.
What's mine is yours, baby. We're married now, remember?
I am freezing the $3 million and sentencing you two to 6 months hard marriage.
Objection!
Welcome home, sweetheart.
If you want me to report that you're both working on your marriage, you're gonna actually have to do that.
Marriage is hard.
Almost done.
Men and women are not meant to coexist. Oh, yeah. This is happening. By the way, it's your day for dishes.
20th Century Fox and Regency Enterprises present.
If I can get Joy to be the one to end the marriage,
Not only would you get out of the marriage,
You will also get the full $3 million.
Hi. Would you mind if we waited in here until the locksmith comes?
there is a hot girl party going on in my living room.
dude, it's a trap.
No, this happens.
No, it doesn't happen.
A comedy about two people with 3 million reasons to stay together.
She doesn't seem so bad, Uncle Jack.
For better
Can you believe this?
No,
You're falling for your wife, you idiot.
Keep your eyes on the prize.
or for worse.
I didn't look real, so it seemed like she was beating you.
Jack, what happened to your face?
I'm supposed to line up the hand towels just so, and I didn't do it. I'm sorry. I deserve it.
What happens in Vegas?
So that trailer kind of shows you the pros and cons of this movie. The pro is it's a really good plot overall. I wouldn't say clever, but it's a really good plot where you have Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz as a couple who get married in Vegas after a drunken stupor, and as they're about to go their separate ways, they put a coin in and they win a casino jackpot of $3 million after it's all said and done. But their simple plan to get a quick divorce and divide the money and is complicated by the divorce court judge's ruling, who basically tells them they have to spend 6 months together in order to get the money. And so what follows next is a series of events where, they have to get together, they have to come together in the end. And then, eventually they're going to fall in love with each other. I mean, it's a basic standard plot right there for a romantic comedy, and I think we've seen this done to death before so many times. What's really interesting about this movie in general is that you see the notable names in the cast of this movie. I mean, Cameron Diaz, Ashton Kutcher, Rob Corddry, and Lake Bell are the main names in this film, but you see notable names like you see Dennis Miller as the judge. You see Queen Latifah playing the doctor that's supposed to watch these two. You've got Treat Williams playing the father of Ashton Kutcher's character. Dennis Farina's also in the movie. Deidre O'Connell, who we haven't seen in a long, long time. I mean, there's a lot of notable names in this movie all across the board. Jason Sudeikis you see in there. Like I said, there's a lot of notable names all throughout the movie. Billy Eichner is in the movie. This is one of his early film roles that he was in. And it's a very standard plot for a romantic comedy, but in terms of Ashton Kutcher's romantic comedies overall, this is probably one of the better ones, and it's because he and Diaz have a lot of good chemistry together. A romantic comedy can be good if your two leads can work off each other really well, and both of them work off each other very well. You do like them when they're, when they don't like each other, and when they do eventually come together, it works. It works very well. I would say it's one of my favorite Ashton Kutcher rom-coms. If I had to pick the best Ashton Kutcher rom-com, it'd probably have to be No Strings Attached, the one he did with Natalie Portman, which was directed by Ivan Reitman, which is still a couple years away, but that was one of my that's probably my favorite one that he's ever done. But this is definitely right up there, and I think it works because the chemistry works very well. There is such a really good cast in here that can level this mediocre material into something really funny. Rob Corddry and Lake Bell have a nice little subplot going on here, and it's just kind of fun to see all these notable comic names in this movie, like Treat Williams, Dennis Miller, and Queen Latifah in these supporting roles, where they wouldn't usually be that way overall. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun. Is it a great movie? No, it's definitely a very flawed film, and not every joke in it works overall. And it is pretty standard overall in terms of its plot. But like I said, a good romantic comedy can work even if a script is terrible if your two leads work off each other really well. And I thought they both worked off each other very well here. So yeah, I recommend What Happens in Vegas if you know what you're going into firsthand. It's definitely one of the better Ashton Kutcher rom-coms. But then again, when you're thinking of stuff like A Lot Like Love and also My Boss's Daughter, it's not really saying a whole lot in general. But yeah, this movie shockingly beat out the next film we're going to talk about here. And shockingly, because not only is the next film we're going to talk about here a pretty good movie, but it's a film that was severely overlooked at the time of its release. And I think you know what I'm talking about if you remember this particular weekend. Let's talk about the Wachowskis' Speed Racer.
Seems to be interested in only one thing. All he talks about, all he seems capable of thinking about, is automobile racing.
Racing's everything. For my family, it isn't just a sport. It's way more important than that. It's like a religion.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver? Then sign that contract.
He's just trying to scare you, son.
What you do behind the wheel of a race car has nothing to do with business.
You walk away from me, you walk away from this deal, no matter how well you drive, you won't win, you won't place. I guarantee you right now, you won't even finish the race.
You think you can drive a car and change the world? It doesn't work like that.
Maybe not. But it's the only thing I know how to do, and I gotta do something.
Move it, Speed. It's getting ugly out there.
Wasn't my idea.
Oh, no?
It was his.
He's going to be very good.
No, he's going to be the best if they don't destroy him first.
That's funny. That ending dialogue from Matthew Fox pretty much sums up how the movie was seen in theaters at the time. You know, it's going to be very good. No, it's going to be the best if they don't destroy it first. Which you could make a proper assumption of Warner Brothers. Maybe not back then, but certainly nowadays. But yeah, every once in a while, every decade or so, there's that one movie that comes out where the filmmakers who make this movie basically say, you know, let's take this to the extremist level that we can. Let's go ahead and put a lot of effort into the production. And, you know, it's going to be a highly ambitious movie, and it may not appeal to a lot of people. And it's going to be seen as an overblown mess at the time, but give it time to really grow, and it will become one of those movies that is just so impressively massive and grand, and what they're able to accomplish here. You know, in the 1980s, we had that with the Robert Altman Popeye movie, which was not a big hit when it came out, but has gone on to become a massive cult hit, even has is with a lot of high ambition in the production value. Dick Tracy was like that in 1990 with Warren Beatty. We just had that recently with Barbie. I would even throw in Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Really good movie with a lot of high ambition and production value that wasn't seen as the critical and financial success that they were expecting. This is one of those films that's definitely in that category, and probably one of the best examples of that overall, because, man, this is such a good, fun movie overall. The plot of this film is that you have Speed Racer, played by Emile Hirsch, who's an 18-year-old automobile racer who follows his apparently deceased brother's career, choosing to remain loyal to his family and their company, Racer Motors, which causes difficulties after he's refused a contract that EP Arnold Royalton, owner of Royalton Industries, offers him. And, yeah, if you've ever seen the Speed Racer cartoon, it's pretty much that, except with a highly ambitious film that this film does. This movie is absolutely amazing. If I have to pick the Wachowskis' best movies as directors, Bound would probably be the first one overall, but Speed Racer is definitely second place. I mean, this film is amazing. In the time that this movie has come out, it has definitely gotten the proper respect it has deserved. It's been growing over time, because it was just bad timing to release this movie in the sandwich that was Iron Man, and in a couple weeks we'll have Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And not only that, the next week there's Chronicles of Narnia, and then Sex and the City comes out later in the summer, Kung Fu Panda, Wall-E. Yeah, this movie was clearly not going to make its money back with all that, but with all those movies sandwiched together. I mean, it's kind of like what happened in November of that, in the previous November with Fred Claus. It got lost in the shuffle with films like B-Movie and Enchanted and Beowulf all coming out around the same time. And this film definitely got lost in the shuffle, but man, I'm so happy to see this movie getting the renaissance it deserves, because yeah, it's an incredible, incredible movie. From a visual perspective, it's an amazing looking film. It looks like a modern upgrade of the cartoon series, and allows for these incredible and unique action sequences that are so well done. They don't feel like something like a ripoff of Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids, especially with Game Over. Like, there's just such incredible, unique sequences and set pieces. I mean, the climax of the movie, the big race in the film, if you look at the colors in the scene alone, I cannot believe this has not gotten a proper 4K release. I mean, I don't know if it has gotten it since then, but as far as I know, there has not been an official 4K Blu-ray release of this movie, and I think it's a shame, because I can only imagine how vibrant the colors can look in this movie. Not to mention, the action looks amazing when he's going down that big slope in the end of the movie, in the clip that I had when doing my original review for this, and just such a great climax of that movie. And the music is really great too. Michael Giacchino, very underrated score of his. He does such a great job of handling this, and it's just such an incredible, incredible scene. I wish I could show it to you, but you know, YouTube and copyright restrictions. So yeah, that's something that sadly I cannot show off here, but it's definitely something you should look for. You can easily find it online, Speed Racer's the final race scene. But I'll talk more about that in just a second, because man, it's definitely something more to talk about. But the casting overall is really good. Emile Hirsch, I think, fits nicely into the role of Speed Racer, making the character his own, while also fitting right into the expectations of what a live-action representation of the character should be. You know, Christina Ricci is very good in here. She has a lot of great chemistry as Trixie. John Goodman and Susan Sarandon are really good playing Speed's parents, and they get their moments to shine in the movie. There's great moments where they have a lot of really good funny moments, but they can also have softer moments with Speed, lighter moments that are very, very good. Matthew Fox is great as Racer X, and I'm sad to see that he did not become that great actor he could be after his work on Party of Five, and especially with Lost, because, you know, he looked like he was on his way to superstardom, and then he just kind of faded away after Lost ended. It's just like, what happened to this dude, man? Like, what is the last thing he's done that I can think of that is after Lost ended? I can't really figure it out, but it's a shame, because, yeah, he's one of those guys that I've definitely been a fan of over the years, and I was really hoping he'd become the next big movie star. If there's one weak link in the movie, it's Scott Porter, who plays Speed's older brother before he becomes Racer X. And it's not that he's bad or anything, but he just doesn't get a whole lot of screen time overall, and he feels kind of pointless in this role. Like, I mean, I get it. He's supposed to be a younger version of Racer X, and you can't really get Matthew Fox to be the younger version of himself. I mean, we didn't have that technology that we have nowadays, where we can usually take older actors and make them young again. But I don't know. I thought his role was kind of pointless early on in the movie. But the runtime of the movie doesn't bother me all that much. Should this have been over 2 hours long? No. But for what they presented with it, I never got bored with it. It never felt like there was too much filler to fill up the time that they had. They tightened it up just enough to keep the enjoyment factor going all across the board. And there's that thrill factor that a good action adventure should do, like Indiana Jones, or Batman, or even the best Marvel Cinematic movies. Like the stuff that happens in this movie, when you get so invested in what's going on, you want the hero to succeed on his mission so much that you start cheering on the events of the movie as the people in the movie are doing too. And again, going back to the climax of the movie, that moment when Speed is racing to first place and the Speed is in the end, and you're seeing the race cutting in with moments of the film showing off what racing means to him and his family, and the race comes to that close. The editing is so well done, and it plays to the intensity and the thrill of the finale. This is a visually gorgeous looking scene that is very well done. And yeah, I should point out though, if you have photosensitivity issues and you don't like flashing lights, I'd probably say stay away from it, because there is a lot of that in this movie, but for me, it was worth it, because man, I started cheering again when I watched this movie again for the first time a couple years ago, and man, this scene holds up incredibly well and has gotten a lot better over time. This movie is much better than it was back in the day. Like, this thing has gotten a lot better over time. It's a great movie. It was way ahead of its time. A lot of it really works well. It can be really stupid at times. Yeah, the kid and the monkey gets a little bit distracting real quickly, and again, that's part of the TV series, but you could have at least made them more appealing and more, instead of just annoying. But then again, they were also kind of annoying in the cartoon as well, so maybe they were onto something there. But it's that fun kind of stupid you can get behind, because there is a lot of effort being put into it. You can see the ambition from the Wachowskis. It's legitimately intense, and also offers up some really good emotional quiet moments where the actors get a chance to shine. Like I said, John Goodman and Susan Sarandon are pitch perfect in this movie, because they show off the comedic sides of the performances in this, but they can also play very dramatic roles, and it never feels like they're overstaying their boundaries overall. It doesn't feel forced in. The actors are making the characters work. The visuals are gorgeous. The fun factor is all over the place. This is just a solid, fun ride all across the board. It's like another movie, Tron, that I should have mentioned beforehand. It's like the Tron of its time. It's a movie that was way ahead of its time, but has gone on to have this big enough following to get the sequel that they were expecting for so many years. We're going to get to that in a couple years' time, and we got a third one coming out this year. And even a popular theme park ride overseas that's going to hit that has hit the U.S., the Tron Coaster of the Magic Kingdom, which looks like a ton of fun. I don't think the cult following of Speed Racer is ever going to get to that point, but I think it's on that same level as Tron is. I think this film deserves a reappraisal. I think it should get a 4K release so people can experience the majesty of these visuals, because it's still impressive to look at. This is a fantastic movie that has gotten better over time. Hopefully more people will realize that this movie has much more merit to it and should be looked back on as such. It's a great, fun ride. It's my second favorite Wachowski film of all time, and it's one I can't recommend this one enough. If you have not seen Speed Racer, do yourself a favor and see Speed Racer. If you like Popeye, if you like Tron, if you like Dick Tracy, if you like Barbie, if you like Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, these visually ambitious projects, Speed Racer is one you should definitely check out, and you will not be disappointed by it, not even close. So with all that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up with a film that actually opened up last weekend, but I just realized that it was coming out this weekend in wider release. David Mamet's latest film, and that is Redbelt.
Give it a pass.
You draw the black marble, you're either going to have one arm tied to your body or potentially both arms tied to your body.
Stole my idea.
You can't copyright an idea.
He has a document of his training regime that he's used for many years.
You want to make some money? Fight on the undercard. It's worth $250,000.
Competition is weakening.
What about the fighter's family? What do they eat?
The fight is fixed.
We pick who gets the white marble. Who gets the pass tonight? You.
I'm ending the charade.
Mr. Flair, I need to talk to you!
You think you're going to the ring? You're going nowhere, Mike. You're going nowhere.
There is no situation you cannot escape. You know the escape.
I mean, David Mamet is a guy that whenever he makes a new movie, I'm right there, man. I think he's one of those great writers. I mean, one of my favorite movies of his is, of course, Glengarry Glen Ross. And, this is his first film he had done since Spartan, which was not the big critical or financial hit overall, but this is definitely a return to form for him. It stars Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's a martial arts master who struggles to achieve financial stability without compromising on his own strict set of morals, and must determine if the latest opponents in his career are too good to be true. And you see there's a cast that includes Alice Braga, Randy Couture, Joe Mantegna, Emily Mortimer, David Paymer, Rodrigo Santoro, and especially Tim Allen in a much different role than we're used to seeing him in. I mean, we're used to seeing him as a comedic actor, Home Improvement, the Toy Story movies, the Santa Claus, but here's a chance for him to go in and play a more dramatic role. And while he's not in it a lot, he does leave a lasting impact here that makes you think that, this guy could act. If you give him a more dramatic role, I mean, he could probably make it work overall. I don't know why nobody's even given him a chance to star in more dramatic roles in general, but Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think this is a great opportunity to see what he can do as a leading actor, too. He would later show this in 12 Years a Slave, which he's great in that movie. I mean, he's proven to be a great actor over the years, and the film really is well done. I think it is probably my favorite David Mamet film that he's done since Glengarry Glen Ross. And Glengarry Glen Ross is a masterpiece, and while I don't think it's up to that level, it's definitely a lot better than some of the other Mamet movies that he's done since then. I mean, it's definitely better than something like, State of Maine, Heist, The Winslow Boy. Spanish Prisoner maybe comes close to it, but again, he only wrote Glengarry Glen Ross, and maybe I'm getting my information wrong here, because I thought he directed it too, but no, that was James Foley that directed Glengarry Glen Ross, but he's made some good stuff since then. I mean, like I said, The Spanish Prisoner is an underrated movie. Wag the Dog is really good. He wrote Hoffa, which was pretty good. So he has made a lot of good movies overall, and of course, when he makes a new movie, I'm right there waiting, because, yeah, I think he's a terrific filmmaker and a great writer overall, and this is definitely one of his more underrated films. One you should definitely check out. I highly recommend checking out, I almost forgot the name of the movie, Redbelt. And so with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we only got one movie to look at the next time around. And it's the first time in a long time since we've only had one film to look at, and it's the sequel to The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This time it's Prince Caspian. We'll take a look and see if that one can live up to the hype of the two summer blockbusters we've had to look at already, Iron Man and Speed Racer. But we'll see if that can live up to it on the next episode. That's coming up tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell. You get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.